After graduating from university, I found myself heartbroken and jobless. My father suddenly fell seriously ill, urgently needing money for treatment. With no other options, I took a shortcut. The city's wealthiest man, an old chap, reached out to me. "I'm terminally ill and won't live long. I'm looking for someone to keep my child company, be it an aunt or a sister figure." "Sure, no problem. I can play any role," I replied. The old man was sincere. He passed away the very next day. We hadn't even registered our marriage or had a ceremony. At the funeral, as the will was read aloud, it stated in black and white, "When Wilbert Lancaster enters university, give Greta Faulkner £5 million." For those 5 seconds, I recalled every sad moment in my life to keep from laughing out loud at the funeral. That evening, I was lying contentedly in the mansion, planning how to spend the £5 million. Suddenly, there was a loud thud as my luggage was thrown outside the main door. Wearing only my nightgown and barefoot, I rushed to the scene, only to find my belongings on fire. "What are you doing?" I glared at the young man standing before me, dressed in a football kit, sweating, with a cigarette between his fingers. I was absolutely furious. "Sorry, my hand slipped and the cigarette fell," he said, lowering his gaze to look directly at me. A smirk played on his lips as he flicked the cigarette butt onto my luggage before sauntering upstairs. I had no time to argue with him and frantically tried to save my belongings. In the end, my luggage was completely burned, and a lock of my hair was singed off. I ran to his room and banged on his door. "Who is it?" came his voice from inside. "Your mother," I shouted. The door opened, revealing him wrapped only in a towel, as if he'd just finished showering. "I don't have a mother. Or perhaps you've been watching too many videos, Aunt. Do you have some special fetish?" I was so angry I felt physically ill. "Wilbert Lancaster, show some respect. I'm your elder." "Respect? You're running to my room in the middle of the night while I'm in the shower, and you're talking about respect?" I was momentarily speechless. "Auntie, you're a bit too old for my taste. Please leave." "Is that respectful enough?" The door slammed shut. I spent the whole night trying to figure out why an 18-year-old boy would suddenly decide to make my life a living hell. There must be something I'm missing here. The next day, determined to kill this demon with kindness, I woke up early to prepare breakfast. An hour later, I knocked on his door. "Wilbert, breakfast is ready." "You'll be late for school," I said in a soft, gentle voice. The door opened, and he stood there with messy hair, looking extremely annoyed. "What do you want so early in the morning?" His voice was hoarse, clearly having just woken up. "I've made breakfast. Come down after you've freshened up, and I'll drive you to school," I said with a big smile. "Not hungry," he said, turning back into his room, ignoring me. "Not hungry? But you're a growing boy, you need to eat. Listen, your body is perfect as it is, you don't need to diet, really." I rambled on, following him into the room. "So annoying," he muttered, walking to his bed and pulling off his t-shirt with one hand, his back to me. "I'm only saying this because I care about you." I continued, but my words trailed off as I caught sight of his bare back. It was lean but muscular, with smooth contours. "Enjoying the view?" he asked sarcastically, his long fingers pausing at the waistband of his trousers as he glanced at me with dark eyes. I'll go check if the tea is ready," I stammered, turning on my heel and fleeing the room in a panic. Back in the kitchen, I felt regret wash over me. It's not like I've never seen a man before, so why did this young lad make my heart race? I carried the milk out to the dining room and waited for him. 10 minutes later, he came downstairs, glanced at me, and walked straight towards the door. Clearly, he had no intention of coming over for breakfast. I woke up at 5 in the morning to prepare this. "Don't you think you're being rather rude?" I stood up. "Who asked you to do that?" He remained unyielding. "Your father entrusted you to my care, so I have to look after you." "Who agreed to that?" He didn't waste any more words with me. With his bag in one hand, he kicked the door open in his trainers. "Go live with whoever agreed to it. If you want me to accept this, keep dreaming." Before I could even get angry, he gave me a cold look, got into his car, and left for school. I could sense the tension between Wilbert Lancaster and me, and it was giving me a headache. One moment, I thought, let it all go to hell. I'm done trying. The next moment, I remembered, £5 million, though. I can endure a bit longer. I started ordering parenting books online in bulk. After a day of reading, my fighting spirit was rekindled. The book said that Wilbert's current symptoms were called teenage syndrome. In simple terms, it was rebellion. I couldn't confront him directly. I needed to be accommodating and gently guide him. That evening, I called the driver and learned that Wilbert hadn't gone home but to a pub instead. A high school student at a pub? How dangerous! When I arrived at the pub, several dolled-up girls were vying to feed him fruit. A boy alone outside. It was indeed dangerous. Just as I was about to go and rescue the defenseless young lad, I overheard his mates gossiping about me. "Wilbert, I heard your dad found you a stepmom. She's not much older than you and quite fit." "Shut it," Wilbert glared at them, and they dared not speak further. They seemed quite afraid of him. The next second, he looked up and saw me. I stood there awkwardly, unsure whether to approach or retreat. Finally, I steeled myself and walked over. "Who's this?" His mates looked at me curiously. "Wilbert, she's clearly looking for you." "Where'd you find such a fit bird?" "Bird?" Thanks for the sweet talk, made this auntie feel a bit better. "Hello, I'm his aunt," I forced a smile. "Wilbert, is this your stepmom?" The group started teasing, and I felt a bit embarrassed. I turned to look at Wilbert, but he had already looked away. He picked up a drink and took a swig. "What are you doing here?" he asked coldly. "I was worried about you, of course. I'm here to take you home. If you want to go, go by yourself." He glanced at me coldly and continued drinking. Then, his mates enthusiastically pulled me in, not letting me leave. "I'll sit here, I won't disturb your fun, will I?" "Of course not, love. Sit next to me." One of the lads pulled me to his side. I looked up at Wilbert. He finished his last sip of alcohol, stood up and said, "You lot are mental." Then he turned and left. I watched Wilbert's retreating figure inside. It seemed he got angry just by seeing me. After being surrounded by the youngsters for an hour and drinking for an hour, Wilbert finally returned. Seeing us laughing together, getting along so well, his face turned cold as ice. "Aren't you leaving yet?" "Huh? Isn't it still early?" I took out my phone to check the time, my head spinning. I squinted and grimaced, unable to make out the numbers even after staring for a while. Wilbert lost his patience. He walked straight over, grabbed my arm, and pulled me out of the crowd. "Do you want to see what you look like right now?" "Stepmom?" He looked at me sarcastically. "Am I beautiful?" My head was buzzing, and I started talking nonsense. He didn't answer. "Am I ugly?" "Wait, let me fix my fringe. It's all messy." He didn't say a word, just left me and walked away. As a result, I lost my balance and tilted to the other side, but a steady hand caught me. He had come back. Then, a minute later, I vomited. I threw up on the lamppost, in the flower bed, by the rubbish bin, on his clothes. It was everywhere. Wilbert Lancaster's face was darker than ever. "From now on, don't say a word to me." He took off his outer garment and threw it directly into the bin, sighing, "Except when you feel like throwing up." "Okay." He supported me as we waited by the roadside for a few minutes until the driver finally arrived with the car. He opened the back door and shoved me in. Yes, shoved. Did I dare to move? I didn't. Halfway through the journey, my mobile rang. I answered it groggily. "Where are you?" As soon as I heard the voice, I remembered. It was my handsome ex-boyfriend, Alaric Farley. In a stretch limo. "Greta Faulkner, what nonsense are you talking?" "My dear ex-boyfriend, can't you hear clearly?" "I'm in a stretch limo," I repeated, raising my voice. Even the driver turned his face and gave me a look. Wilbert was even more speechless. I covered the phone. I can't talk now, I'm busy. You haven't even found a job. What are you busy with? I'm busy looking after kids. Bye. Nearly losing my mind from being irritated by my ex-boyfriend, I sobered up quite a bit. But I didn't dare face it, so I just pretended to pass out drunk. Hangovers are truly dreadful. Recalling last night's events, I was supposed to pick up my son, but instead, I ended up in this sorry state. Adopting a Sarah attitude, I decided to just go with it. When bored, I'd indulge in some retail therapy or take my sports car for a spin. The life of the wealthy can be so monotonous and dreary. If it weren't for Zeke Lancaster calling to invite us over for Christmas dinner, I might have thought this was how I'd spend the rest of my days. Lately, Wilbert Lancaster and I hadn't crossed paths, which could be described as a peaceful coexistence. In the afternoon, I applied some lovely makeup and drove off to pick up Wilbert. After waiting for ages, I finally spotted Wilbert emerging, surrounded by his peers. Even in his school uniform, the lad exuded an undeniable charm. He had that typical pale complexion and monolids, looking soulful even when glancing at a dog. Back in my school days, a boy like him would have been the heartthrob of many. No wonder he had so many girls chasing after him. Wilbert Lancaster, I called out his name, tapping the horn lightly. He looked up, spotting me instantly, but his gaze lingered for barely a second before he averted his eyes and started walking away. This troublesome kid. I couldn't very well keep honking, so I lowered my voice and called out, "Wilbert, your grandfather asked me to bring you over for dinner." "Don't call me," he shot me a glance. I glanced around at the curious onlookers. Oh, he felt embarrassed. "Get in the car and I'll stop calling you." "I'm not going. If you don't come, I won't be able to find my way. Use your GPS." "I don't know how." He finally stopped, giving me an exasperated look. "You're annoying." "Fine, I'll admit it." But he got in the car, and that's what mattered. His grandfather's old estate was in the suburbs, a Greek-style building with a golf course. From the outside, it looked ordinary, not much different from a park, but when I went in, I was shocked. Did this family own a gold mine or something? Those two lions at the entrance weren't made of gold, were they? I asked. In a blink, Wilbert Lancaster had left me behind, and I hurried to catch up. "What do you think?" He sighed, waiting for me. "They are gold. Do you want to go and take a bite? I've just brushed my teeth." "My teeth aren't up for it," I mumbled. He ignored me. I stood there, not knowing what to do. He sighed again, changing his tone, "Follow me." Then he turned and led me into the courtyard. The courtyard was full of people, all of whom I had seen before. They were his relatives, whom I'd met at the funeral, but I couldn't remember them clearly. "Look, he's here," someone said. A group of people were drinking tea, watching us as we walked by. They all stared at us in unison, smiles on their faces, but they were clearly forced. "A bastard, and now he's brought a stepmother." "How laughable," one whispered. "My elder brother must have lost his mind. How could he fancy her?" "A country bumpkin daring to compete with you, sister-in-law," another chimed in. The so-called sister-in-law was the original wife of that old man, Wilbert's father. She looked at me contemptuously. Young girls these days, never working hard, just thinking about using their bodies to climb the social ladder. With that face of hers, you could find 100 like it online. "What's so special about her?" Someone immediately agreed. Hearing this, my face burned with embarrassment. "Scared?" Wilbert lowered his head and smirked at me. "What do I have to be scared of?" I clenched my fists. "I'm 30 years younger than her, and besides, your grandfather asked me to come. I'll sit right there." Saying this, I pulled Wilbert towards his grandfather. "Ah, you're here." The old man's face was neutral when he saw me, but his eyes lit up when he saw Wilbert beside me. "Wilbert, come sit by grandfather." "No, thanks." Wilbert, the little brat, gave no quarter and sat down in a wicker chair far away. I awkwardly greeted the old man and went to sit with Wilbert. During dinner, the main topic of discussion was whether Wilbert should stay with his grandfather or return to his own home. After listening to their conversation for a while, I learned that Wilbert was born to his father's secretary, which had caused the original wife to divorce his father. The secretary had gone abroad after giving birth to Wilbert, and Wilbert had been raised by his father outside the family home, rarely returning to the old estate. Of course, a big part of this was the fear that he might return to claim his inheritance, causing him to be ostracized by the whole family. What do you think? Stay with grandfather or... His grandfather glanced at me. Follow your aunt? I looked at Wilbert, but he didn't look at me. I felt like I was sitting on pins and needles. I won't follow anyone, Wilbert said lightly. Everyone present was stunned. You're not of age yet, grandfather said, looking worried. Some people, even when they come of age, don't necessarily have their heads screwed on right. He suddenly glanced at me. Why look at me? That won't do. You're still young, you must have someone to take care of you. How about this? Grandfather will decide for you, you'll move back here tomorrow. I'll go with her. He looked at me. Didn't the old man pay a hefty sum to find me a stepmother? Can't let her off easy. This kid must have a grudge against me. Now everyone was looking at me. Well, Grandfather Lancaster, I swear I'll take good care of Wilbert. I had to stand up and pledge my loyalty. This result disappointed Grandfather, but the others seemed pleased. Your father left you a subsidiary company. When you graduate from university, you'll get the shares, Grandfather sighed. I don't want it, Wilbert flat out refused. Yes, you do. How can you not want it? I stood up. Wilbert looked up at me, confused. Grandfather, when his father spoke to me, he said I should take care of him until he enters university. His decision now shouldn't count. Shouldn't we wait until he graduates from university to decide? Really, anyone dares to speak up now, the original wife jumped in. I felt stifled by her words. I'm not just anyone, I have a name. I'm Greta Faulkner, I smiled at her, refusing to back down. Who knows you? What are you doing here jumping in? A relative spoke up. Bullying me because I'm outnumbered, are you? I know her, Wilbert, sitting beside me, said coldly. The other side was left speechless. Grandfather, let's respect the deceased. I think we should follow the will, don't you agree? I pressed on. This was about Wilbert's money, and I wouldn't back down. The atmosphere became extremely awkward. You're right. Let's wait until Wilbert graduates from university, then he can make his own decision, Grandfather finally concluded. On the way back, Wilbert Lancaster was still angry with me. What gives you the right to make decisions for me? He snapped. Wilbert, you're still young. You don't understand how hard it is to find a job, how difficult it is to earn money. Do you know what a company means? I tried to reason with him. What does it mean? He challenged. It means you won't have to work for the rest of your life. That money would last you 3 lifetimes of luxury. These are things most people can only dream of. He truly was a young master born with a silver spoon, oblivious to the hardships of life. Greta Faulkner, you're just like my mom, he suddenly blurted out, clearly in a foul mood. Oh. Do I look like your mom? That's unlikely. What's her name? Maybe we're actually related if we go back 3 generations, I joked. He looked at me calmly and said, you only care about money. You'd do anything for it, only thinking about your own pleasure, disregarding morals and other people's lives. I was stunned into silence. So this was the real reason for his anger. I took a deep breath, unsure how to comfort this young lad. That's not fair, I paused. Your life is in your own hands, you know. Didn't you hear them call me a bastard? What's the point of you trying to please me? Never mind what they say. If you want something, go for it. And if you can't get it, well, you've still got me, haven't you? It wasn't that he didn't want the company, he just couldn't bear being called a bastard while fighting for his inheritance. I've got you? He scoffed. What, are you planning to support me for life? For life? I mentally calculated the meager figures in my bank accounts. Why not? I said, my lips twitching. He glanced at me and muttered, you're mental. After this incident, my relationship with Wilbert Lancaster eased a bit. He didn't acknowledge me or accept my guidance, continuing to do as he pleased. But at least he stopped throwing my belongings out and no longer fed the breakfast I made to the golden retriever. I suppose that's progress. As his guardian, I could overlook most of his daily activities, but when he went to the pub at night, I had to follow. It was my responsibility to ensure his safety. His attitude towards me changed from initial aversion to eventual indifference. Suddenly, I received a WhatsApp message from my best friend, Mabel Chamberlain. "He's back." This simple, unnamed message instantly turned my world upside down. I took my phone outside to call Mabel. "When did he return? I heard he's been back for 3 months. Hasn't he contacted you?" "No." I paused for a moment. "Well, maybe once. That one time when I was drunk and received Alaric Farley's call in the car. Quite embarrassing, really. He came back with the class beauty, and they're organizing a class reunion." "Oh, is that so?" A year after our breakup, hearing this news still left a sour taste in my mouth. "Are you sure you don't want to get back together with him?" "Get back together?" He made it clear when we broke up that our perspectives were different now. He's a returnee from abroad, after all. What's so great about studying abroad? You're married into a wealthy family now. The mention of money finally lifted my spirits a bit. Alaric Farley was my neighbor, and I had fancied him since childhood. He must have liked me too, right? Otherwise, why didn't he reject me when I confessed to him in our second year of university? However, less than 6 months into our relationship, he left to study abroad. I begged him not to go, but he asked, "Greta Faulkner, don't you have your own life? Can't you survive without me?" I waited for him for 2 years, only to be greeted with happy photos of him and the class beauty. "Greta, you're not here with me. You can't expect me not to have any friends of the opposite sex." Was I trying to stop him from having female friends? Everyone knew the class beauty fancied him. Was he really oblivious to it? Was he truly unaware, or just unwilling to give up that bit of ambiguity? So, in our 4th year, I suggested breaking up. He didn't try to stop me, and that was the end of us. "Are you coming to the class reunion?" Mabel asked. Of course. I should congratulate my ex-boyfriend, shouldn't I? They're organizing a reunion right after coming back. Isn't it obvious they want me to attend? After hanging up, I vented my frustration on the flowers and plants for a while. The night wind stung my eyes, making them water. "What did these flowers do to you?" A voice came from above. I looked up to see Wilbert Lancaster. "What are you doing here?" I asked, surprised. "Smoking. You're just a kid. Why are you so fond of smoking?" "It's bad for your development. You seem quite spirited." "Looks like your ex-boyfriend isn't that important after all." He glanced at me. "Were you eavesdropping?" "As if I'd bother," he retorted. "This is adult business. Children shouldn't interfere. You're only a few years older than me. Stop talking to me like you're my elder. We both know who's got the higher IQ between us." I wasn't upset by my ex-boyfriend, but he always managed to infuriate me in seconds. "By the way, I'm developing just fine," he added. With that, he ignored me, put out his cigarette, and walked away nonchalantly. I stared blankly into space, then suddenly had an idea. "Could you help me with something?" "Go on," Wilbert replied. "Could you pretend to be my boyfriend?" "I need to go to a class reunion." "No," he coldly interrupted before I could finish. "I thought you might have come up with some clever plan to deal with your ex, but I see you're just being brainless." "Fine, I'm brainless and you're the genius. You're the only one with a brain in the whole world. Happy now?" I snapped, suddenly furious. Faced with my sudden outburst, he was taken aback for a moment. What I meant was, it's too easy to see through. I mean, the two of us standing there, we wouldn't look anything like a couple. "Oh, you're so smart, you're always right," I retorted sarcastically. The emotions I'd been suppressing all day finally erupted. Tears began streaming down my face. I had to admit, the news of Alaric's return to England had really shaken me. Wilbert stood there, stunned for a moment, then ran his hand through his hair and cursed under his breath. I just kept walking, ignoring the cars that passed by. He followed behind in his car with the driver. I swore to myself I wouldn't listen to anything he said. "Get in the car." "I'll do it," he called out. He agreed? All right then, I thought. I'll make that vow another time. This one doesn't count. I got into the car. On the day of the class reunion, I was so nervous that I only tried on a few dozen outfits. Dressed like that, trying to rekindle an old flame? Wilbert Lancaster said with a look of disbelief as he returned from school, eyeing the strappy dress I was trying on. "You're too young to understand, this is my battle armor," I replied, ignoring his disapproving gaze and pushing him to change his clothes. "You can't wear your school uniform, it'll give you away immediately." "Why not? Wouldn't you brag for a year to your classmates about dating a handsome young lad?" "That's true," I conceded. His face darkened. "You really are brainless. Insulting me again? Is this child getting too big for his boots?" I was about to lose my temper when he walked away. Seeing that time was running short, I went to knock on his door. When it opened, I was stunned. Stunned by his handsomeness. "Wilbert, why are you dressed like that?" I could barely speak. He was wearing a suit, the black fabric making him look even paler, his lips slightly red, and his eyes, hidden beneath messy bangs, sparkled like stars. I suddenly remembered the recent news about wealthy older women preferring young male students. I thought it was perverse at the time. Now, I felt like the most perverted of all. "Not good," he raised an eyebrow at me. "It's perfect." I was almost swooning. The reunion was arranged at a lakeside hotel, very classy. On the way there, my mind was full of moral admonitions to myself. But as soon as we entered the venue, I quite naturally took Wilbert's arm. "You stay quiet the whole time, I'll do the talking. Aren't you afraid your classmates will laugh at you for bringing a mute?" "Good point, then just respond occasionally." "Greta Faulkner," he looked at me with a dark expression, "can you think before you speak? What did I do wrong? Figure it out yourself." "Greta Faulkner," someone suddenly called my name. I looked up to see the class beauty. She was wearing a white long dress, her hair half up, looking pure and charming. "Thea," I put on a smile and greeted her. "You've changed so much, I almost didn't recognize you." "You've become prettier." "Not really." She was still so good at social niceties. I should have disliked her, but I couldn't bring myself to say anything unkind. "And who's this? Won't you introduce us?" Her gaze fell on Wilbert. Just then, someone walked up behind her. He was in a suit, his expression cold. Even from a meter away, he made it difficult for me to breathe. It was Alaric Farley. I took a deep breath and effectively pulled Wilbert closer. "Wilbert Lancaster, my boyfriend." "Wow, your boyfriend is so handsome, but he looks a bit young?" Thea's smile became a bit stiff. "He's not that young, he's 20 this year." "Only 20? Gosh, Greta Faulkner, you're amazing." "Yeah, your little brother looks so handsome. Did you save the galaxy in your past life?" A group of people gathered around. I shyly clung to Wilbert, but didn't dare look at Alaric. 20? Alaric chuckled softly. "Wilbert Lancaster, I seem to remember your student ID says you're 18? I looked at Wilbert in confusion. His expression was bland as he quietly said, "Mr. Farley." Half an hour later, Wilbert was smoking outside the private room, while Alaric pulled me aside. "How have you been?" he asked, standing next to me. "Very well, actually. I'm doing just fine without you. As you can see, my boyfriend is right over there." I pointed towards Wilbert in the distance. I felt nervous saying this, my palms were sweating. Wilbert noticed me looking at him and stared back. His expression was hard to read, but I was certain it wasn't one of pleasure. "Still trying to fool me? He's only 18, your boyfriend?" Alaric sneered. "Well, who says an 18-year-old can't be my boyfriend? Greta, he's my student. If you're trying to get back at me, couldn't you at least have some boundaries?" He looked angry. Get back at you? I almost laughed. Why would I want to get back at him? Who did he think he was? I had only loved him for over a decade, that's all. Isn't that what this is? You're really full of yourself, aren't you? I didn't know beforehand, and besides, I haven't. I stopped mid-sentence, feeling my own anger rise. You know what, Alaric? I hope you and Thea have a wonderful life together. Don't bother inviting me to the wedding, I can't afford it. With that, I turned and walked towards Wilbert, pulling him along as I said goodbye to my classmates. Sorry everyone, I have to go. It's 9 o'clock, and I need to help my boyfriend with his homework. The group started teasing us again. Wilbert shrugged helplessly, whatever she says. He looked incredibly obedient. I almost wanted to pinch his cheek. I saw Alaric's face darken even more, but I couldn't care less. I just pulled Wilbert along as we left. Later, many photos were shared in the class WhatsApp group. Many of them were pictures of Thea Quinton and Alaric Farley together. Thea was smiling brightly, looking every bit like a hostess. Alaric maintained a stern expression throughout. How did he become your teacher? I asked Wilbert on our way home. The original teacher went on maternity leave, so we just got a new one. Wilbert looked at me, as if worried I might overreact. Why didn't you tell me earlier? You didn't tell me your ex-boyfriend's name earlier either. Fair point. I felt annoyed, but I didn't want to take it out on the kid. What do you think? Mr. Farley is like as a person? I suddenly wanted to know how students saw him. Was he so cold only to me, or was he like that with everyone? Wilbert gave me an exasperated look. He's a man. I could never predict his answers. That's not what I meant. I'm asking about his personality. What are you trying to find out from me? He lowered his eyes to look at me. Greta Faulkner, I'm not your spy. Why was this brat always so moody? Did I offend him? Why do you always call me by my full name? Can't you be a bit more polite? What should I call you then? Auntie, or even sister would do. I was speechless. Not a chance. He turned away, clearly done with the conversation. Fine, if he didn't want to talk, I wouldn't force him. But why was he walking so fast? My first encounter with Alaric Farley after his return to England was truly dreadful. So dreadful that I've been having nightmares lately. In my dreams, Alaric agrees to be with me, and I'm overjoyed. But in the blink of an eye, he's holding Thea Quinton's hand and getting engaged to her. This dream makes no sense, yet it always leaves me feeling suffocated with sadness. Wilbert Lancaster has been avoiding me lately. Even when I occasionally drive him to school, he's silent. Our relationship is still quite strained. One day, I discovered it was Wilbert's birthday. I called the family estate to ask if his grandfather had any plans, thinking I could drop him off earlier if so. I learned that the old man and the others had gone on holiday to Brighton and wouldn't be back for a week. After hanging up, I fell into deep thought. With such a large family, not a single person was celebrating his birthday. Is this how the wealthy behave? That evening, he went to a pub, and I followed. I thought there might be a surprise, but after waiting for an hour, some were playing cards, others singing karaoke, no different from any other night. It seemed everyone had forgotten his birthday. Poor lad. So I stepped out for a bit, and when I returned with boxes large and small, filling the booth table, everyone stared at me in bewilderment. What are you up to now? Wilbert fixed his gaze on me. Surprise! I opened the cake box. Happy birthday! Everyone looked expectant at first, then their expressions gradually turned peculiar. I looked down and saw. The cake was shaped like pink knickers? A question mark slowly formed in my mind. I had ordered the cake over the phone. What style would you like? They'd asked. Whatever's popular with young lads these days, I'd replied. The bakery owner was certainly something else, turning the unthinkable into cake. Auntie, is this the kind of thing we get to see for free? Someone quipped. Everyone burst into laughter. Wilbert remained silent, leaning back on the sofa, eyeing me with an amused expression. Make a wish! I urged, lighting the candles. I don't believe in that nonsense. He clearly didn't want to comply. You're only 17 once in your life, and wishes made now will come true. He glanced at me, childish. It might seem childish to you youngsters, but it's just right for us adults. I covered his eyes with my hand, then helped him clasp his hands together. Quick, make a wish. He paused for a second, extremely reluctantly. After blowing out the candles and eating the cake, the birthday celebration was complete. On the way home, he sat in the back seat, resting his eyes. I held back for a long time before asking, how come none of them remembered it was your birthday? Aren't they supposed to be mates? He slowly opened his eyes and looked at me. Is it possible that today isn't actually my birthday? How can that be? The chat app said it was your birthday today. When did you secretly add me? He gazed at me. Oh no, I've exposed that I added him using a fake account. I hope he won't be angry. Seeing my silence, he didn't seem upset. It was yesterday. All right, say no more. I'm going into hermit mode. I covered my face. All that excitement, and it turned out to be a blunder. Heavens, take me now. Okay, I won't say anything else. When we came to a puddle, he lifted me by my coat hood, helping me across. Open your eyes, watch where you're going. Since that day, he hasn't been going to the pub much. He's been coming home quite early, and I always wait for him to return. When I ask him a few questions, he just gives brief answers before retiring to his room early. I'm still having nightmares. Alaric Farley has become something of a lingering ghost in my mind. I called Mabel Chamberlain to tell her about my nightmares, and she just laughed at me. Didn't you say before that your rich husband has a little brat with him? Yes, that's right. A brat that big and that handsome? You must be pulling my leg. What if I told you that I'm a victim too? Would you believe me? I don't believe a word of it. You should count yourself lucky. Lucky for what? He may be handsome, but I'm not dating him. Why not? Don't tell me you're saving him for me. I was speechless. I thought we were best friends, but she wants to be my daughter-in-law? Being with such a handsome young man, don't you feel your heart flutter? How can you resist? Have you no morals at all? Wait a minute. Weren't we discussing Alaric Farley? How did the conversation get stuck on Wilbert Lancaster? After hanging up, I lay on my bed, deep in thought. Heart flutter? How could I possibly have feelings for a mere lad? I repeated in my mind 100 times, what separates humans from animals is our sense of morality. Suddenly, I heard the sound of a door opening outside. Was Wilbert back? I opened my door and saw him just about to enter his room. He turned to look at me for a second before averting his gaze. I walked over to him. You've been coming home quite early lately. Doing homework? He had mentioned homework before, and I wondered if he'd finally seen the light. No homework, he replied. No homework? What are your teachers doing then? Trying to snoop about your ex again? The lad got angry in an instant. No, why do you keep bringing him up? I blocked his doorway. Your father's will stated that I'm supposed to help you get into university. So, bring your books here. I'll tutor you for an hour every night. I refuse to believe that I, a top graduate from a prestigious university, couldn't teach one lad well enough to get into uni. What are you on about now? He looked at me. I'm serious. I pushed open his door and sat down at his desk. Come here, we'll start tonight. He tossed his jacket aside and reluctantly came over, sitting down beside me. I asked him about his current academic situation. Just over 200 points? My jaw dropped. I told you not to get carried away with your ideas. 500 points. I'll make sure you get 500 points. After all, I did study education. Though I wasn't sure why I felt so uncertain about it. And what if I don't? He looked at me with amusement. If you don't, you'll go south to find work, I'll go back home to farm, and we'll part ways. With your build, you think you can farm? Wilbert Lancaster. I was about to shout at him. Why was he always so flippant? Open your book to the first page. If I didn't show some authority, he'd think I was a pushover. The first page is blank, miss, he said, looking at me with amusement. Even the book was against me? What's so funny? Well then, never mind, I'll do it. I took his book and started flipping through it. So that night, I worked hard, lecturing him all evening until my mouth was dry. I wasn't sure if he had taken any of it in. He brought over a bottle of water, unscrewed the cap, and handed it to me. No one's forcing you to do this, you know. Why bother? Wilbert, you need to take this seriously. This affects your entire future. I took a big gulp, finally feeling alive again. You really think you're my mom now? I'm not your mom, but I do want you to have a good future. Without qualifications, how will you survive? I'll manage. I was fuming. Tomorrow night at this time, bring your maths book back. You're such a pain. Pain or not, I was only doing this for his own good. Just as I was about to leave, I noticed a few cartoon-patterned hair ties hanging on the pen holder on his desk. Instead of studying properly, you're just busy dating. I pointed at the hair ties. They must belong to some girl. He suddenly leaned back in his chair, looking at me lazily. Don't they look familiar? I glanced at them. They do look a bit familiar. The next second, I realized, weren't these the ones I had lost a few days ago? I had been losing a hair tie every day recently, and I thought I was just becoming forgetful due to the nightmares, always misplacing them. Why you? I stuttered. What about me? He asked. How could he be so calm about creepily hoarding my hair ties? No, I needed to stay calm. You should go to bed soon. Think about what I taught you today. I'm off to sleep now. I was about to slip away when I remembered something. I went back, grabbed the hair ties, and tried to act nonchalant as I rushed out of the room. Back in my room, I leaned against the door and immediately called Mabel Chamberlain. Calling me at this hour? It better be important, or I'll throttle you, she mumbled, still half asleep. It's a big deal, really. I exclaimed. Wilbert Lancaster likes me. He must be madly in love with me. Can you believe he's been hiding my hair ties? What should I do? I know I'm attractive and all, but I never thought I'd be appealing to both young and old. I rattled on, unsure if she was even listening. He likes you? Congratulations, she said dryly. I'm serious, Mabel. How are you so sure he likes you? Maybe he's just watched too many films and is keeping his stepmother's things to satisfy some private urge. I hadn't considered that possibility. Great analysis. Next time, don't analyze at all, I retorted. Goodbye. I hung up abruptly. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Who is it? I called out. It's me, came the reply. Wilbert? What did he want now? What is it? I asked, keeping the door firmly shut. Your Bluetooth earphones. Oh, right. I'd left them on his desk earlier. Thanks, I said politely, opening the door to take them. He stood there, looking down at me, showing no signs of leaving. Shouldn't you be off to bed? Why are you still here? I urged. Have you? He hesitated. Been sleeping well lately? I sleep fine. Why wouldn't I? I'm perfectly all right, I said, trying to get rid of him. If you're sleeping well, why are you talking in your sleep? How do you know that? I panicked. He hadn't installed cameras or bugs in my room, had he? Just a guess. You've got dark circles under your eyes, he said, turning to leave. Good night. As he walked away, I lost my composure. I immediately ran back to my room, searching every nook and cranny for hidden cameras. I found nothing. That night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't help but shake my head. He must be so in love with me, to the point of obsession. But the next morning, I was in for a rude awakening. Alaric Farley called me, asking me to come to the school. You're Wilbert Lancaster's guardian, right? He's caused quite a stir with his romantic entanglements. 2 girls in his class got into a fight over him. "We need you to come in." I was absolutely shocked. He had a girlfriend, and he was dating 2 at once? No wonder he'd been coming home looking exhausted lately. He couldn't keep up with the physical demands. What a cad! The next time I saw Alaric, I deliberately chose an outfit that made me look prim and proper. I wasn't just going to a parent-teacher meeting. I was going to battle with my ex. At 3 in the afternoon, I sat in Alaric's office. He adjusted his glasses. "Nephew?" I took a sip of tea. "Son. Greta Faulkner, you're 23 years old. Your son is 18. Do you think I'm an idiot?" I gave him a forced smile. "My husband is 53. What's wrong with having an 18-year-old son? How have you become so mercenary? Does Mr. Farley still have lingering feelings for me?" He fell silent, removing his glasses to stare at me. "Greta Faulkner, do I need to remind you that you were the one who ended things? There's no need for every word out of your mouth to be so barbed. Mr. Farley, do I need to remind you that I'm here today about my child's issues, not our personal matters?" I shot back. Did he still think I was the same Greta Faulkner who used to chase after him, crying all night over a single glance? Fine, if this is how you want to speak to me, let's pretend I didn't say anything. Let's talk about my son, then. His face turned green. "Wilbert Lancaster is dating in class. Didn't you know? For a student like him, according to school rules, he should be expelled. I've been lenient because we know each other, tolerating his behavior repeatedly. This time he's been two-timing, and the 2 girls got into a physical fight over him. One even ended up in hospital. The other parents have come to me, and I need to give them an explanation." Expelled? When I was in secondary school, dating didn't lead to expulsion, did it? Besides, isn't it normal for teenagers to have crushes? Or did Mr. Farley never experience adolescence? Of course, how could Alaric have had an adolescence? His teenage years were spent with me chasing after him, sending him flowers, gifts, and love letters, all of which he ignored. Even more ridiculous was when we finally got together, he asked me, "Greta Faulkner, you liked me since your first year at university?" How did I not know? Oh, sod off. Back then, I just focused on studying. I didn't think about other things, he sighed. Mr. Farley was truly a model student. Why on earth did I ever fancy this block of wood? There are 2 options. The first is expulsion. Expulsion is not an option. I immediately rejected. The second option is for you to apologize to the parents. If they don't file a complaint and we can mitigate the negative impact, the school might consider keeping him. His father has donated money to the school. This isn't an era where money can buy you anything you want. I wanted to swear. Forget it, leave it to me. I'll talk to the parents. After all, I've always been the one cleaning up your messes, he sighed. No need. I stood up. I won't trouble you. I picked up my bag and left. Good news, I spent an evening taking 2 parents out for dinner, apologizing profusely and making amends. Thankfully, it ended successfully. Bad news, my face is stiff from all the forced smiling I had to do all evening. Back home, I don't want to do anything except lounge about. As I'm sprawled on the sofa, Wilbert Lancaster returns from school. "Wilbert, can't you just fancy one girl from now on?" I say wearily. His expression changes abruptly. "What do you mean? You were two-timing and nearly got expelled, did you know that?" He stares at me silently. "It's all right now, I've sorted everything out. Just focus on your studies from now on." He pauses for a moment, then responds angrily, "If I get expelled, so be it. I don't need you to do anything." He's actually angry, when I'm the one who should be furious. I'm exhausted. Recently, I've let my guard down with Wilbert and have been tutoring him earnestly. But tonight, he keeps staring at me, and seeing his nonchalant attitude irritates me. "What's wrong?" he asks, noticing my sudden silence. I'm knackered. "If you're tired, rest." "Who asked you to tutor me?" he says, closing the book in his hand. We haven't finished today's lesson. We'll continue tomorrow. Go to bed. Just as he finishes speaking, his phone receives a message. It's on silent, but the screen lights up. Over the next hour, it lights up countless times. The profile picture is clearly a girl's, a cute dog avatar. Here I am, working myself to the bone trying to improve his grades, and he's off dating? Thinking about how I had to humble myself and beg those two parents for his sake the other day, I feel my anger rising. The more I think about it, the angrier I get, until I explode. Wilbert Lancaster, I'm trying to tutor you, and you're not even paying attention. What's your problem? Don't you want to learn anymore? How am I not paying attention? He responds, surprisingly calm in contrast to my outburst. How many messages have you sent your girlfriend in the past hour? There's a limit to dating, you know? Don't you understand respect? He stands there, staring at me. I didn't send any messages. You might not have sent any, but you've been looking at them nonstop. It's not my girlfriend. We broke up ages ago. You're having me on. Believe what you want. If you have something to say, say it. Don't shout at me. I'm just fed up with you never focusing on your studies. Fine, have it your way. I'm done with you. You'll never amount to anything at this rate. He stands up, also angry now. You're done with me, are you? I never asked you to look after me in the first place. Who are you to me anyway? I'm nobody to you, so let's leave it at that. I throw down the book and walk away. I return to my room and lie on the bed, hearing a loud slam as the door is forcefully shut. He's gone out. Tears start falling down my cheeks. Calming down, I realized I didn't quite understand why I was so angry. Tutoring him was a promise I made to his father. Only by helping him get into university could I secure the £5 million inheritance. So, what was I being so emotional about? Lying in bed until midnight, he still hadn't returned. After much deliberation, I got up and changed my clothes, deciding to go look for him. But at this hour, the driver was already asleep, and I didn't want to trouble him. Standing at the winding road junction, I was lost in thought. My fear of the dark and ghosts was truly debilitating. To go out and find him, I'd have to cross a garden with a lake, then over a bridge to reach the area outside the estate where I could get a taxi. Gritting my teeth, I moved forward. Just then, I saw a faint, flickering light in the distance. A ghost? I was petrified. Throwing caution to the wind, I ran wildly. Eventually, I crashed into a wall. Why are you running? Be careful. Initially scared half to death, I looked up to find it was Wilbert Lancaster. As if I'd found a savior, I began to cry rather pathetically. Wilbert, I sobbed, my voice choked with tears. Why are you crying? Are you that scared? He grabbed my arm and shouted, if you're so afraid, what are you doing out in the middle of the night? The more he yelled, the more upset I became. I came out to find you. He stood there stunned, taking a deep breath. You scolded me so harshly, why come looking for me now? I was worried something had happened to you. I clung to him desperately, regardless of propriety. I'm a grown man, what could happen to me? He looked at me irritably. He fumbled in his pocket for a while, unable to find a tissue, so he resorted to using his t-shirt to wipe my tears. If I don't worry about you, who will? Have you no conscience? I asked through my tears. Greta, can you not treat me like this? He suddenly asked. Why not? He frowned. Don't you know that when you treat me like this, I might misunderstand, I might lie awake all night, I might. He couldn't continue. The air suddenly grew thick with tension. What do you mean? Don't you know who I've been waiting for here? If I didn't know you were afraid of the dark, would I be waiting here? What more do I need to say for you to understand? I don't understand. All right, I admit I was scared. The next second, he stroked my head and embraced me. Feeling his breath so close, I was stunned. I didn't dare to think too deeply about what this gesture meant. He looked at me once, his expression restrained yet intense, then lowered his head and held me tightly. My mind went blank instantly. Suddenly coming to my senses, I pushed him away. He stepped back, standing there looking lost and forlorn. "What are you doing?" I shouted at him. "I don't know either," he said, hanging his head dejectedly. "I'm sorry. You really are." I was too angry to speak and turned to walk back home. He didn't say anything more, just followed me all the way back. That night, I couldn't sleep a wink. I can't figure out what exactly went wrong. Is it his problem, or mine? How could he be so intimate with me? What's worse is, why didn't I push him away immediately? My heart was racing madly. I must have gone mad. I barely managed to wait until 8 a.m. when he was supposed to leave for school. Only then did I dare to come out. But as soon as I emerged, I saw him sitting on the sofa, staring at me. He looked exhausted, probably hadn't slept all night either. "Why haven't you gone to school yet?" I deliberately ignored last night's events. "I'll go in a bit," he said, looking at me. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine." "You should hurry to school," I urged him. He looked at me with concern. "About last night." "Let's pretend last night never happened," I interrupted him. "You were drunk and not yourself." "I understand, everyone gets drunk sometimes." He stared at me for a long moment, then picked up his backpack and walked to the door. He paused there. "I wasn't drunk," he said, then turned and left. This troublesome boy, is he trying to turn everything upside down? He won't even take the easy way out I'm offering. I couldn't help myself and called Mabel. "I told you he likes you, but you wouldn't believe me," she said. "But he clearly hates me. Don't you remember how he burned my luggage when he first arrived?" I reminded her. "That's how some boys are when they like someone, isn't it? First, they clash with you to get your attention, then they keep annoying you to test you. Once they start to compromise, that's when they've fallen hard," Mabel explained. "If you're so knowledgeable, why are you still single?" I asked her. "Greta Faulkner, you just had to bring that up." "I'm single because I can see right through boys. Older men are too cunning, I don't understand them either." After hanging up, I thought about her dubious advice. "If you want him to give up, you should find a man. A child's crush comes and goes quickly. It's a good idea in theory. The problem is, where am I supposed to find a man?" As I was pondering this, Mr. Farley asked me to come to the school again. "Wilbert Lancaster has suddenly become very studious lately, and his grades have improved quite a bit," Alaric Farley remarked. "That's good news," I replied. "It is, but he seems rather down. Such a drastic change in someone is concerning. I worry something might have happened at home." Alaric paused, looking at me intently. Thinking back, I realized Wilbert had indeed looked rather worn out every day when he returned home. At first, I thought he was just tired from studying. Then I wondered if he might be lovesick. After pondering for a while, a sudden thought struck me. Could it be that he's fallen for me so desperately that it's affecting his mental state? It seemed urgent to help him move past this. "All right, I'll have a good chat with him when I get back," I said, picking up my bag to leave. "Greta," Alaric called out, stopping me. I turned to look at him. "I went back to my hometown the other day and visited your father," he said. "My father?" A sharp pain stabbed through my heart. It had been nearly a year since I'd last seen him. Ever since I stubbornly insisted on marrying the old man, he'd been so angry he'd thrown me out of the house. "How is he?" I asked, feeling a lump in my throat. "His health has improved a lot. Your family is doing reasonably well, but..." He paused. "They miss you." Tears welled up in my eyes, and I had to take a deep breath to keep from crying on the spot. "That's good to hear," I managed. "Your father needed money for his treatment." "Why didn't you tell me?" he suddenly asked, staring at me intently. My heart skipped a beat. "Why should I have told you?" I countered. "So instead of letting me help, you went and married some old man? Don't you think that was rather reckless?" He sounded angry. "Why shouldn't I marry an older man?" "Alaric, I earn my own money, I support myself. Everyone else can accuse me of being vain, but not you." You have no right. He stared at me for a long moment before finally uttering, I'm sorry. It's all right, I said, wiping away my tears and forcing a smile. It was all in the past now. He had apologized, and all the complicated, painful, hopeless times of unrequited love were behind us. I'm going back this weekend. Would you like to come? He asked, looking at me. All right, I agreed. On the way back, I was still debating whether to tell Wilbert that I needed to visit my hometown. In the end, I said nothing. The moment my father saw me, his face was as stern as ever. It was the same expression he had when he caught me doing something wrong as a child. Why did you come back? I thought you were so capable that you said you'd never return to this home. When did I ever say that? How could I bear to leave you, old man? I ran over and hugged my father's neck. I saw his eyes grow moist. My mother was crying uncontrollably beside us. During dinner, my mother pulled me aside. Why didn't Alaric come? Tell him to join us for dinner. Why should we invite him? You stubborn girl, you've liked him for so many years, yet you're still in denial. My mother pinched me. Last time I helped you test the waters, he's still single. He came back to the country this time because of you. You and that old man haven't registered your marriage yet, so it doesn't count as being married. Don't be stubborn anymore. Now that you're both back, let's settle this matter. Your father and I will be at ease then. Listening to my mother's words, I suddenly thought of Wilbert. If Alaric and I got engaged, he would truly be left all alone. Oh no, I'm infected. Why am I thinking about this? My mother went to invite Alaric for dinner. He came, still as gentle and elegant as ever. My parents couldn't help but adore him. I, however, was preoccupied with the WhatsApp message from half an hour ago. Not at home? It was from Wilbert. Forgot to tell you, I'm back in my hometown, I replied after hesitating for a long time. Where's your hometown? When are you coming back? Not sure. After a moment, I added, make sure you eat properly, sleep well, and read a bit in the evening, okay? Not okay. He's a 17-year-old high school student with household staff and a driver. What problems could he possibly have? Then I can't help you. I turned off my screen. Greta, why aren't you eating? You're just messaging, my mother asked. I looked up to find everyone staring at me. Just something to take care of. Alaric looked at me with a serious expression, clearly not believing me. From dinner onwards, I could see that my parents were desperately trying to match me with Alaric. Their pitiful attempts made me quite uncomfortable. Only then did I realize how much trouble my feelings for him had caused my parents. They probably thought I couldn't live without him, that he was my only option. By the next day, I was already feeling the urge to go back home. Wilbert Lancaster was very quiet and hadn't caused any trouble. But the quieter he was, the more unsettling I found it. My parents wouldn't let me leave, and I felt indebted to them, so I agreed to stay for a few more days. I eventually went to knock on Alaric Farley's door. He seemed pleased to see me. Could you ask your fellow teachers if Wilbert Lancaster has been to school these past couple of days? I asked. His expression immediately soured. I'll give them a ring and ask, he said. All right, thanks. A moment later, he came back to tell me, he's been in. You don't need to worry. Good, thank you. As I was about to leave, he grabbed my hand. I instinctively pulled my hand away. Greta, shall we start over? He asked, standing there looking down at me with an air of certainty. As if I would cry out yes at any moment. I stood there, stunned. Come to think of it, this was the first time he had ever suggested we be together, and the first time he had shown any vulnerability. You see, in the past when we argued, no matter how angry I was, I would always be the one to make up with him, to apologize, to beg him not to break up with me. According to my parents' wishes, I should have immediately agreed to his proposal. But I don't think that's a good idea, I said with a polite smile, rejecting him. Why not? He asked, shocked. I already have a son. What's the point of starting over? Your mother said you weren't married, and you only stayed with him for the money. If it's money you want, I can provide that for you. He looked at me, utterly perplexed. I laughed. Even now, he still thought I was madly in love with him. Perhaps he saw me as nothing more than a dog, he'd thrown me a bone, and he couldn't understand why I wasn't gratefully clinging to him. He might even wonder if there was something wrong with my mind. Alaric, I don't want to go back, I said. It was as simple as that. He stood there, dazed and confused. I'm sorry, but I have a son now. I'm not good enough for you. Goodbye. I was about to turn away when... Greta Faulkner, don't you think your relationship with Wilbert Lancaster is a bit abnormal? He asked. What do you mean? Is your relationship really as innocent as you claim? Then why does he look at me like I'm his mortal enemy every day at school? Why does he deliberately antagonize me? And why does he go berserk whenever you come to school to see me? He gave me a cold smirk. My heart sank. I hadn't known about any of this. Is he really treating you like an ant, or is he trying to seduce you? You know the truth, don't you? Alaric, your mind is truly filthy, I spat, turning on my heel and walking away, fuming. That day, I was furious. Everything irritated me. Yet, I couldn't pinpoint the exact reason for my anger. After tossing and turning all night, unable to sleep, I called Wilbert Lancaster. Why are you still up so late? I regretted it immediately. It was already midnight, why was I calling him? You're up too, he chuckled. Are you at home? I just wanted to check on him for peace of mind. He didn't answer. I sat up abruptly. You're not at home? No. Then where are you? I raised my voice. Was he trying to cause trouble, staying out this late? I could even hear dogs barking and cars passing in the background. I'm lost. Lost? How could he possibly be lost? Send me your location. I exited the call screen and hurriedly opened WhatsApp to check his location. I was stunned. He was only 200 meters away from me. What are you doing here? I came to find you. The atmosphere grew tense. Stay where you are, no, turn on your live location. I'll be right there. He obediently replied, okay. I hastily put on my coat, only to realize it was raining outside. I grabbed an umbrella by the door and left. When I found him, he was standing dutifully under a street sign, soaked to the bone. Why didn't you find shelter? I quickly pulled him under the umbrella. You told me to wait for you here, he smiled at me. I told you to wait, not to stand in the rain. Are you daft? You're not very clever. I was afraid you wouldn't find me. Afraid I wouldn't find him, so he stood in the most obvious spot under a street sign in the middle of the night, getting drenched like an idiot? I wanted to scold him, but seeing him like that, my heart softened. I'll find you a hotel. I'm not comfortable in hotels. Then what should we do? You can't possibly come to my place, can you? He fell silent. That pitiful look on his face was truly heartbreaking. Fine, come on, let's go to my place. I have a spare room. I sneaked him into my house. My parents were asleep, so I took him directly to the guest room, planning to explain in the morning. However, as soon as we entered the room, he hugged me from behind. I froze, Wilbert Lancaster. I tried to pry his hands off, but he wouldn't let go. If I hadn't come to find you, would you have never come back? His chin rested on my shoulder, his voice muffled. I would have come back. Let go first. I didn't dare speak loudly, afraid of waking my parents. That's good. He nuzzled my neck before finally releasing me, satisfied. Wilbert, we can't do this. I was about to lose it. What did I do? He looked at me with lowered eyes, his voice a bit hoarse. We can't be like this. You can't like me. I got straight to the point. His smile faded. I can't like you, but do you like me? Are you mad? How could I like you? He snapped, pinning me against the door. If you don't like me, why are you so kind to me? If you don't like me, why did you come to find me? If you don't like me, why, Do you come to my room every night? Are you playing with me, miss? Or do you fall for everyone you meet? I was stunned. What nonsense are you talking about? When did I ever go to your room? You did come to my room. You even slept hugging me. And if that wasn't enough, you were calling out your ex-boyfriend's name in your sleep. Do you know what I wanted to do at that moment? He glared at me fiercely. What did you want to do? Kill him. I was so shocked that my mind went blank for a few seconds. When I felt him about to embrace me again, I suddenly came to my senses. I slapped him for the first time. He stopped, looked at me for a few seconds, then tried to approach me again. I pushed him away and bit his shoulder hard. He winced in pain and finally let go of me. By now, I was in tears. Miss, he stood there, at a loss. I'm sorry, please don't cry. He was crying too. Do you know you're acting like a madman? Don't call me Mississippi. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm sorry. When I found out you went back to your hometown with him, I went crazy with jealousy. You can hit me, I was wrong. Please don't ignore me. Please don't cry. It hurts me. Here, it hurts so much. He tried to come closer, but sensing my wariness, he very consciously stood still. My heart was in turmoil. Without another word, I turned and left the room. Lying in bed, I couldn't sleep all night. I didn't know when I had gone to his room, but the next day my mom said I had a habit of sleepwalking when I was under stress. Every night before your exams, you'd run to our room. Your dad always had to carry you back. You're a grown woman now, why do you still lack such a sense of security? So it was my fault to begin with. I thought I should explain myself. But when I woke up the next morning, the bedding in the guest room was neatly folded, and he was gone without a trace. I called the driver and learned he had returned home. To avoid contact with him, I lingered at my parents' house, reluctant to go back. I stayed there for 2 months, and he never contacted me. I only knew about his daily activities through the driver. My mom asked me about my future plans, but I didn't know. I had no plans. One day, his grandfather suddenly asked me to come over, so I had to return there. In the vast study, the old man sat in a wicker chair. I had never seen him look so serious before. Did you know Wilbert is seeing a therapist? No, I didn't. You're his aunt, and you didn't know. Didn't you promise to take care of him? I was at a loss for words. Come to think of it, although he was only 17, most of the time he acted more mature than me, always attentive to details. Who was really taking care of whom? I had failed miserably. Your sister-in-law got hold of his conversations with the therapist. Read it yourself. The old man angrily threw the papers in front of me. I lowered my head, looking at the black and white text, and felt goosebumps rising. Wilbert Lancaster, I want to control my feelings for her, but I can't. When she smiles at me, I feel like she's mine, and no one else can have her. Therapist, can you distinguish if this is a dependence on maternal love or romantic feelings for the opposite sex? Wilbert Lancaster, would you want to kiss your mother, to possess her? Reading this, I felt as if struck by lightning. I'm sorry, I said softly. Apart from apologizing, I didn't know what else to say. A group of people rushed in from outside, hurling abuse at me. I felt wronged but remained silent. I didn't understand. I only wanted to be good to him, only thought he was too pitiful being all alone. Only felt that we were like two lonely stars in the dark night, wanting to warm each other. How did it turn out like this? To be honest, had I not developed feelings for Wilbert? I think I had, but countless times I had been lying to myself, clinging to false hope. In the end, I reaped what I sowed. I was scolded until my head was buzzing, so much so that I didn't even notice when Wilbert burst in. You wretched boy, you're still protecting her? Do you really like her? The old man was so angry he hit him with his cane, but Wilbert shielded me, not making a sound. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Don't cry. This fool was bleeding from the beating, yet he was still wiping my tears. The world had truly gone mad. He firmly stood in front of me, glaring fiercely at the group of people. Yes, I like her. I love her, but it's not as sordid as you think. He calmly looked at the people in front of him. Why her of all people? Why do you like her? The old man was so angry he was coughing up blood. Why do I like her? I don't know either. He paused. All my life, I've never been firmly chosen by anyone. My birth mother didn't want me, my birth father wouldn't let me in the door, my so-called relatives couldn't wait for me to die, but she wanted me. She did it for money, I know. But she leaves the light on for me when I have late classes, she brings me an umbrella when it rains, her cooking is terrible. But she insists on making me breakfast, she surprises me on my birthday, she tries her best to fit in with my friends for my sake. No matter when, she always firmly stands by my side, firmly chooses me. That's enough. For me, it's enough. I don't care, but she shouldn't be blamed. None of you here have the right to blame her. After saying this, he helped me up and led me out. We walked through the park together, strolled along the streets, and stood at the bustling intersection, tears streaming down our faces. Shall we keep going? He looked down at me. No, I can't walk anymore, I wiped my tears and smiled at him. Then I'll carry you on my back. So for the rest of the journey, he carried me on his back as we continued forward. I rested on his back, feeling the straight posture of the young man, sensing his youth, and secretly shedding tears. Do you like me? He asked tentatively. Of course I do, I replied with a smile. You know, when I first saw you, I thought you were like my brother, proud and sullen. He always argues with me, but whenever I fight with my parents, he desperately tries to speak well of me to them. His body stiffened. Your actual brother? Yes, he just got top marks in his year. He fell silent, and we lapsed into a long period of quietness. Later, we returned home exhausted. Back at the house, I made him a meal. We carried on as usual, eating, chatting, playing video games, as if nothing had changed. In the evening, he fell asleep, and I sat by his bed with my luggage. I wanted to say a proper goodbye, but when I tried to speak, not a word came out. I just sat there quietly, watching him for half an hour. Just as I was about to leave, the sleeping figure suddenly turned over. He grabbed my hand. A pair of moist eyes looked up at me. Can't you stay? I don't like you anymore, really, I don't like you anymore. For a moment, it felt like my throat was blocked. I managed to say with difficulty, take care of yourself. Eat well, sleep well, study hard. He didn't say anything, just let go of my hand and turned away. I saw his body shaking, and I knew he was crying again. I moved to another city and found a job. Every day I was so busy I didn't have time to check my phone. Mabel Chamberlain called me to say that Thea Quinton had gotten married. The groom wasn't Alaric Farley, but the chubby guy from our class who had successfully lost weight and pursued her relentlessly. They had a whirlwind wedding. I listened to all sorts of news about other people's lives passed on to me, feeling like everyone else's life was so colorful and exciting. My own life felt like a stagnant pond. But at least everyone seemed to be doing well. Alaric Farley called to tell me that Wilbert Lancaster had been accepted to university. This was probably the best news I'd heard recently. Actually, I'd been having trouble sleeping lately. I'd often have the urge to message Wilbert, but always stopped myself. Why should I bother him? Isn't it enough that he's doing well? Alaric paused. In the yearbook section where everyone wrote who they fancied, he wrote your name for every single entry. It's all over the school now. I was stunned, my mind going blank. After hanging up, it took me half an hour to process it. The truth I didn't dare admit, he could so easily proclaim to the world without hesitation. A young man's affection knows no fear of being exposed to the light of day. In comparison, we adults live such stifled lives. I started to deeply question what exactly my current state of affairs was all about. Later, Alaric called me drunk one night. Greta, if I hadn't chosen to leave back then, would we be together now? I hesitated. Alaric, you're drunk. I'm not drunk. Answer me. I sighed. Yes, we would. I had liked him so much before, for so many years. Then why aren't we together now? He asked. Because you never firmly chose me. Adults always weigh the pros and cons of their affections. Why did he come back looking for me later? Wasn't it because he realized that besides me, no one else would love him that way? Greta, I was wrong. Terribly wrong, he sobbed on the other end of the line. Let's just be friends. I hung up the phone. On my 25th birthday, I invited a group of friends to a pub, hoping to change my luck. Mabel Chamberlain, who hadn't seen me in ages, started shouting as soon as she arrived at the pub. Greta Faulkner, what's wrong with you? Still single after all these years? I'm not the one to talk. I heard you're expecting twins. I'll have to buy 2 gifts now. Haha, you think being a godmother is that easy? We drank for a while. Midway through the night, she suddenly went wild. Truth or dare? The loser has to go to that table and get a handsome guy's number. I followed her gaze and quickly looked away. Not that table. There are foreigners there. They look too posh. It'd be embarrassing if we get told off. That's what makes it exciting. Everyone started egging us on. I didn't want to be a spoilsport. As luck would have it, I lost the first round. I seriously suspected Mabel was setting me up. I reluctantly went over to ask for a number, but before I got close, I saw they were discussing something serious. I worried they might think I was mad for suddenly interrupting. Excuse me, could I get your number? I tapped a random handsome guy on the shoulder. He turned around, and it was a foreign chap. He looked surprised, then said, okay. I was relieved at how understanding he was. What do you mean, okay? A voice next to him spoke up. Sorry, he's taken. I turned towards the voice and saw Wilbert Lancaster. I was mortified, and my heart started racing. You know each other? The foreign guy looked at Wilbert in surprise. More than that. Wilbert stood up, his face dark, and pulled me outside. He led me to a private room and pushed me against the door. Long time no see, darling. Long time no see. I looked at him warily, and he noticed, looking hurt. His lips stopped an inch from mine, then pulled back. Don't give him your number. He's a player, he sighed. I was just playing truth or dare with my friends. Then why didn't you ask for my number? You know I'd never refuse you. I didn't know what to say. He seemed to have grown taller in the 2 years we hadn't seen each other, and his body looked more toned. But his face was still the same as 2 years ago. Even after all this time, it still captivated me. Congratulations on getting into university, I said. He looked at me. Do I get a reward? A reward? Take me to the cinema. Sure, another day. Today. I didn't understand why he was so insistent on me taking him to the cinema. We'd known each other for a while, and I could afford a few quid for a ticket. We went to buy tickets, but by then only the 10 p.m. showing was left. It'll be too late after the film. Don't you need to get back to your dorm? We'll see after the film. Later I realized my concern was unnecessary. His family was wealthy, they'd probably bought him a flat in the city. What was I worried about? After the film ended at midnight, he walked me home and said he was going to pull an all-nighter at an internet cafe. I didn't bring my ID. Can't go to a hotel. After some thought, I decided to bring him back to my rented flat. I had a 2-bedroom flat, with the 2nd bedroom empty. It was better than him going to an internet cafe. But then he said the 2nd bedroom smelled funny and wanted to sleep in my room. Wilbert Lancaster, what exactly do you want? I looked at him. He just smiled at me. Don't you know what I want, darling? My heart skipped a beat, and I quickly grabbed my duvet to leave. I just want to chat with you. Nothing else. He sighed. I softened and let him stay. We chatted until 2 a.m., and I was so tired I could barely keep my eyes open. Darling, I can't sleep, he whined again. Count sheep. I did, but I still can't sleep. I was completely exasperated. Wilbert. If you want to kiss me, just do it. Then go to sleep. Please stop bothering me. Darling, why didn't you say that earlier? He grinned mischievously. In the end, we embraced and kissed, but things didn't stop there. Afterwards, he was still complaining, "Darling, it wouldn't be right if you don't take responsibility for me. What did I do to you? You did this and that to me, torturing me beyond recognition. Wilbert Lancaster, have some shame." When it was over, he held me close and whispered in my ear, "I love you." Actually, in my heart, I replied, "I love you too." One night, I suddenly remembered something. "Wilbert, didn't your grandfathers will say you'd get £5 million when you got into university?" I kindly reminded him. "You came back to me just for the money?" The puppy immediately scowled. "Of course not. Is that the kind of person you think I am? How annoying, is that really how he sees me? I'm not that greedy or lustful." I like those last two words. He pinched my waist. "Open your mouth, darling. I'm trying to have a serious conversation here." I was at my wit's end. Win me over, and the whole company is yours. It's worth much more than £5 million. He leaned in to kiss me. "Darling." Afterwards. My bank balance had 9 more zeros after the one.